You know what? It's time to say the quiet
Can I
part
say
out
something
loud.
really quick?
I would like to say the quiet part out loud because you've called Black women undesirable once again. So let me address your undesirability. Okay, you guys, you sit up
Man, that's the
here,
second time
y'all
you
talk
misquoted me.
about y'all talk about twerking and weave. You're the biggest unalivers of Black women.
But see, the one thing you gotta understand, these
She's
people,
never been an advocate for Black women. Let's
these
be she
feminists was
her
never an
audience is
advocate
white
for black
people.
women, but y'all still put up their flags and tatted they flags and alma maters on y'all skin. It was
Who
never
knew
for
that?
you. That was the feminist movement. There's a lot of movements that and things that took place in society that wasn't even intended for black women, but black women latched on to it. Anyways, so you got misses
No,
with that.
okay, so the feminist movement, women were hand in hand. Black women were hand in hand with it. We have our own movement called, womenists, and the womenist movement centers the Black family. But we do have a lot in common with the feminism movement because we are women, and a lot of those causes that they were fighting for are also things that we've had to fight for. So we are.
That's not true. We black women
It
never
is.
had those issues. When y'all saw white women uprising, y'all smelt blood. And y'all smelt a way out, so y'all can go and deviate. And y'all
What
left the
can you
household.
can
And
you
y'all
pinpoint a scenario where we smelled blood and we did what you just said? Can you flesh that out for me?
okay, so our families were thriving. Let's go back to the 50s, the 40s, 50s, 60s. We were thriving. We were thriving. We had movements come in, particularly the feminist movement. I don't know which wave that was. I don't know whether that's the first or second wave of feminism. But white women were having issues being stay-at-home moms, and they wanted to get out and work. They wanted to be equal. They wanted to be able to do the same thing men did. They wanted to earn money and earn similar wages. Black women didn't have these issues. They were fine in the households raising our children and thrusting them into society. It was whenever the white women start complaining when black women wanted to get and join those fights and join those protests.
No.
We never had these issues.
We were never, first of all, we never had the luxury of sitting home and thrusting your children into society. Black women have always worked, always. So it was in our best interest to actually make sure that we are getting livable, fair wages for our work.
Okay, well then you showed me a scenario where you worked. Because from my research, black women were the last out of everybody to be able to get employment or even earn any type of wages.
Black people are always the last. Black
I
men
didn't
were the
say black
last.
people, I said black women.
Yes, Black people in general are always the last. So just like Black men were the last to get their right to vote of all the men and all the demographics, of course, Black women are going to be the last to get their rights as it pertains to
What
women's
do you mean?
rights.
Of
Of
course.
course, that's how that is how that's how that power structure works. That's how white supremacy works.
So here's
It
the question:
happened to y'all too.
why did black women wait until white women got out with the signs and all that to actually do something?
Why did we
Why didn't
wait?
if black women had a problem with the condition or the situation they was in, thriving under a black man's leadership and being a wife, a suitable wife, and raising a family, nuclear families, why wait until these white women get out here and start these movements for them to get out there and break up their families and try to piggyback on the same similar movements from their counterparts?
A lot
Last
of
time
black
I
women
checked,
used to use like white women. Like a lot of those ideas that the white women came out with was pushed by a lot of black women behind closed doors because when they spoke out, we got different retaliations when we spoke out than when they spoke out. They had a little bit more freedom than what we did. And then it's like sometimes I feel like it's not fair to use that timeline when referencing marriages because we still have to remember that women weren't allowed to open up their own bank accounts until 1974. So that could be a large reason why women in divorce rates were so low because even if I did work a job and I did make it and I wanted to leave my drunk husband, I couldn't because who's going to cash my checks and who can I trust to bring this money back
So
home?
you making my point. We gave you resources, and what you did with the resource, instead of pouring it back into the family and in your husbands, use it as a way to get out. Use
Well,
it a
I
way to open
No,
your own
black
bank
women,
account
black, you know
and
what black women
and
were
break up a
doing? Black
family. All you're doing
women,
is making my point.
no, black women were hand in hand with you during the civil rights movement. When the feminist movement was cropping up, black women were front line for black rights first and foremost. We were there every step of the way. I literally witnessed it when I went to the Smithsonian African American Museum in Washington D.C. and I started from the bottom of that museum. I saw women. We actually have a whole floor. I saw women every step of the way, helping in tandem, hand in hand, front line with Black men in every turn of from slavery till civil rights, fighting for our freedom, not women freedom, our freedom, fighting for Black men.
Well, you know what I saw?
and
I saw y'all fighting for y'all survival. You was never fighting for us. Because it was up until you got some money and the ability to use it at your own expense and at your own will is when you completely deviated from the fight. It's
I
when you
need you to go
completely
read.
left the forefront of the Black Panther movements and all these black causes. Once you got money in your hand, she just told on herself. Once you got money in your hand, you went and opened up your own bank account so you can vacate the family. And what I see is you 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 and just to get back to the point, because we went down a rabbit hole, you got to understand during the time it takes for a woman to get high enough to a high enough level where she surpassed majority of a man educationally and financially, she's not holding out. She's still busting it open. So you know she's gonna become less desired that way. Um, she's gonna become more unimpressionable, less cooperative, because she's typically not holding up on her way out. So, ladies, if you gonna pursue individual success, just keep in mind that the mileage on your mind and your body during that journey, it don't serve you well. And that is what the problem is. Not that it's the men are ineligible, it's because of the mileage on you makes you ineligible. And you try to, and because you lack so much accountability, you want to point it back at the man saying, oh, it ain't enough man. No, you don't, you're wore out. Your tires are run flat.
You
can I
know
say
what? It's time
something?
to say the quiet
Can I
part
say
out
something
loud.
really quick?
I would like to say the quiet part out loud because you've called Black women undesirable once again. So let me address your undesirability. Okay, you guys, you sit up
And that's the
here,
second time
y'all
you
talk
misquoted me.
about y'all talk about twerking and weave. You're the biggest unalivers of Black women, the biggest abusers of Black women, the biggest abandoners of Black women. And you want to approach us about weave and twerking? Sir, you need to get together with your brothers and talk to them about killing other sisters and brothers at an alarming rate. Stop calling Black women undesirable when y'all are abusers, killers, and abandoners. That's
Can I
the
say
quiet part out loud.